Hi, everyone, and welcome to Show Your Work with Angie Carraway. My name is Matt Hogan. I'm your host. And with me, of course, is the candidate for House District 89 in Texas, Angie Carraway. What's going on, Ange?
Not much, just hanging out.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. It's a good Monday.
Anything on the agenda yet today? Have you been out, or is this the first thing we're doing?
Have not been out of the house on the agenda, but I did attend a Moms Demand Action video call earlier today, and then just been working on the campaign stuff.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and take a pivot into what we want to talk about this week. So, there's a really big event coming up that you and I are both attending, and that is the Texas State Democratic Convention in Corpus Christi. So I figured that would be a good thing for us to talk about on this episode. So what are your expectations going into the convention?
My expectations are somewhat similar to the first day of school, that it's going to be a long weekend full of learning opportunities and networking and getting to know people, and mixed up with complete exhaustion and uncertainty, but excitement at the same time. So that's kind of what I think it's going to be. Nervous sighted is one of the words my girls used to use whenever they were nervous and excited about something equally.
Okay. Yeah. So this is, if I'm not correct, let me know, but this is the first party convention, or at least statewide party convention that you've been to ever?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
First ever to attend statewide, countywide. Yeah. This is the big enchilada.
Yeah. What are we expecting? When was the last time you've been to Corpus Christi? I haven't been since I think 1997. I was like 14. So I don't know.
I want to say the last time I went was probably around 2018, maybe 2017. I was actually there for a national social studies conference for educators.
Okay. Was that in the same place that the convention's at?
I don't remember. I know it was right there on the seawall, like we were right there, but I don't know if it's the same place or not. I feel like maybe it could be. I don't think we were in a hotel. I think we were in some sort of convention center. So it might be the very same place.
Yeah, it might ring a bell when we get down there. So you were at the Collin County Democratic Convention earlier this year, right?
Yes, in March.
Yeah. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that? Because I wasn't able to attend. What was that experience, and how does that set you up for what you expect to see later this week?
So I mean, the process is probably pretty similar. I just think it's going to be on a scale that's, times 100, because there's definitely, the different committees that met, as far as like rules committee and platform committee and things like that. And then they had the main hall, which was for certain votes that they took. And then every candidate that was able to come statewide and countywide came to speak at the convention as well. So it was a, convention feeling where it's a lot of people coming together, kind of going in different directions. I just think the state convention is going to be on a massive scale, obviously.
How many people do you think attended the Collin County one?
Yeah, that's a good question. It was several hundred. I don't know if it was a few hundred, but it was probably 200 plus people. Estimates on the state is like 7,000 people.
Oh yeah, I'm
heard.
completely intimidated by the amount of people that we're likely going to encounter later this week. I don't know what to expect with this, because it sounds like, there are so many groups. There's so many caucuses. There's so much going on. How have you been able to kind of evaluate what's important to attend and what's not? Because we clearly can't do everything, but I know we're trying to. So how have you prioritized what our agenda is this week?
I think the priority, from what I've been told for me as a candidate, is just to get in front of as many people as possible and to network as much as possible. Like you said, there's no way that we can do everything. So when we're prioritizing, I kind of like to prioritize some relationships that I already have and know, that I haven't had more of a chance to connect with personally. We attend a lot of these things through online platforms, so it's going to be a really cool experience, I think, to meet them in person. And those organizations that have supported me through this process of being a first-time candidate, I definitely want to show a bit of love to them. But I also think it's important to have some strategy to further expand the brand of this campaign, and making sure that I've exhausted all possibilities of new networks that I can tap into.
And I guess that's kind of what we're really focused on here on the convention is really making our name out into that. What do you think is the most effective way to do that?
Okay, but before I answer your question, I wanted to bring up a point that was brought up on our candidate chat that we have going on. And one of the candidates had asked in the chat, somebody kind of tell me what is the benefit of like, she said, I know we're going to convention to talk and go to these different caucuses, but what is the purpose of reaching out to the delegates? And so, a couple of people kind of chimed in, and I said, you should never miss an opportunity to make an ally, period. If these are people that are already invested in the party, already part of your community, already part of the community in Texas as a party, to make an ally is never a bad idea. So that's how you should be reaching out with them. So I think there's a couple different ways that we can tackle. And of course, first time candidate, we don't really know. We're kind of stabbing in the dark here and just doing the best that we know how. I mean, it's just to have real conversations that are memorable, that show your personality, your, you know, I don't know how else to say it, but the tenacity that this race is going to be. I mean, on my end, it's all I'm both feet in, if that is an expression, to win this race, no matter what it takes, with the exception of staying morally morally okay, and anything that I'm willing to do to make sure that I win this race. So,
Yeah.
um,
What's the
we're gonna make tactics. Good, good.
no, that's just like you're so much better at this sort of stuff than I am. I'm really anxious about this week. About like, God, do we have the perfect plan? Do we have the best schedule? Is this the best use of everyone's time? And really, ultimately, we just need to go and do it and just see what we can get accomplished along the way.
Yeah, I don't know if that's my personality or my career choice, because when you're working with kids, you can have the best laid plans,
Oh yeah, they're gonna
um,
screw it up.
and they will ruin that within 5 seconds. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to have that mentality of this is what I want to get in the end. I don't know the exact way to do it. I have a good guess of what might work, but I think being able to pivot is served me well being a candidate. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
thus
guess that's
far.
the same game in my profession too, is like, you want to, you plan as best you can. And then like ultimately the universe is going to throw
Yeah.
you a curveball, like it will. And your ability to kind of accommodate that is really, um, how you handle it. There's I don't know if it's a saying, but a practice in customer service, and I'm sure you're familiar with it, of that every screw up is an opportunity to really wow someone with how you fixed it, to really impress somebody
Mm.
how you handle something terrible. So I've always kind of viewed like a screw up or like something that gets ruined. Okay, well, how well and how fast can I fix it for somebody? So they're just so impressed that it was taken care of. So I guess it's kind of a similar mentality of like, let's just be ready to pivot on a dime and we'll see what we can get done.
And have a good dose of humility as well. To honesty, I guess, is the word,
Yeah,
and recognize you as a human that makes mistakes, and that's okay.
I'm kind of expecting that this week we get down there. I'm just
Same.
imagining like we're gonna walk into somewhere with an expectation of like you're gonna have speaking time, and then you're gonna start speaking, and they'll be like, "Why is this lady talking right now? Like nobody asked her to do this." I'm going to assume the same thing. Like maybe I can say something on your behalf, and then ultimately it's just like, "Hey, buddy, sit down. That microphone's not for you." That's just I'm imagining that scenario, and I think we're just gonna have to. I don't know if we've got the mic in hand, make it count for for every second that we have it.
Yeah, you got to.
Oh
You got to. That's one thing I have learned, is always be prepared to speak whenever you get
yeah,
there.
yeah. Oh, goodness. Okay, well, that seems like a good place to take a break. We're going to take a quick moment and we will be right back. All right, and we are back with Show Your Work with Angie Carraway. Okay, Angie, I wanted to pivot into talking about who's actually going to be at the convention on top of like 7,000 attendees. So it looks like our headline speaker is going to be the Senate candidate, James Tallarico. Another keynote speaker is Gina Hinojosa, the candidate for governor. And then also, I know Vicki Goodwin's on the lineup. So let's start with, the big old teacher in the room of it all, James Tallarico, basically at the top of this ticket in our midterms here. What kind of tone do you think he's going to set for this convention?
I think that Tallarico is always Tallarico, and his intentions are to unite us against against the corruption that has been happening in Texas over the last 30 years, and that it's time to make sure that we are, number one, taking care of the people that have been, all of us that have been subject to this corruption, and to stop it. Things like public education, supporting our public education, making sure that we are passing legislation that brings real relief to the working class. So I don't think his focus is going to change at all. He's been pretty consistent on the campaign trail thus far.
So let's step down to Gina Hinojosa, or the Democratic candidate for governor in Texas. So first, why don't you tell me about Gina, or what you know about Gina?
So Gina Hinojosa has been an amazing a legislator already in the state of Texas. She has proven time and time again that she's going to fight for things like public education and sticking up for the working class, no matter what that looks like. She's absolutely fallen in step, like we were talking about. Democrats have a hard time to do, but and these were her views before. Remember that James and Gina worked together for years, so they're familiar with working each other. They know what each other stands for and what they're fighting for. So I think she's an incredible candidate. She is absolutely going to fight for public education. So she obviously has my support and my views as well.
All three of the top of the ticket candidates, including Lieutenant Governor Vicki Goodwin, they're all current legislators, or at least former
Yes.
legislators.
Yes.
I don't know, does James still have his seat? I actually don't know if he had. Okay.
No, he
That's
doesn't
what I
have
thought.
it anymore. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. But yeah, they're all former legislators and former colleagues.
Actually, I say that. No, that's a lie. He did, because he was just sitting on the education committee just a couple of weeks ago.
Okay,
So he
cool,
does
cool,
still
cool,
have
cool.
his seat. Yeah.
Gotcha. Probably should have checked that before we started this combo. Apologies.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I think that's really neat that it's people who have served in the state house that are running for these statewide offices that are there's a sense of like ground up feeling to that, rather than just somebody who's stepping in from out of line. Somebody who just happens to have name recognition, or happens to have enough money to pull something like this off. Okay, I think that's another good spot to take a break. We're going to take a brief moment and we will come right back. Okay, Ange, let's catch up on your weekend doings. What did you get out to this week down in Collin County?
So Friday evening, I met with a group that meets in Wiley. It's an organization called Drinking Liberally, which was a good time. Met several new people there, a couple of voters. I had a lovely dinner and a chat with some voters. So that was really nice. And then Saturday, we had a block walk in Princeton. It was incredibly humid. It was so humid. There was sweat in places I ought not to sweat, but had a couple good conversations there. And then we don't get many opportunities anymore to do things outside of campaigning, but the Plano Juneteenth festival was Saturday night. And so we made the decision to just go and enjoy the community and not do any campaigning. And
That's awesome.
we had a great time. One of my very good friends, Rashina, was actually there. So I ran
Are you
into
serious?
her. And
I thought,
yeah.
so you sent the photo of her. I thought you were just meeting her there. She was just there and you saw Rashina?
She was literally, what's so funny, I was at one of the vendors, and it was like a vendor that had blingy, like Friday Night Lights kind of purses and shirts and whatnot. And I was like, man, Rashina would love this booth. And then so we walk on and I was like, hold on, is that Rashina? So yeah, Marcus, I didn't know, but he grew up literally in that Douglas community. He was like, yeah, that blue house right there is the house I grew up in. So he grew up in Plano.
And that's her husband.
He graduated
Marcus?
from Plano, and that's her husband. Yeah, that's her husband.
Yeah.
So he was down there with all his family that came, his aunts and his mom and everybody down there. So that was really cool. So we had a good time.
That's really neat. I miss Rashina.
Yeah. She's awesome.
She's freaking cool.
Yeah, she is the best.
We had a big Juneteenth celebration up here in Tulsa as well. I did not make it out. Saturday, unfortunately, was a working day for me, but it's always pretty prominent here in Tulsa in our Greenwood district downtown. That's neat. I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you did that as like a participant and not as a candidate, just to go and kind of just take the hat off for a minute and just go be a human for a little while.
Yeah, it was really nice to experience it. And then Sunday, we went to the Princeton Juneteenth Festival, and that was really cool. Got to meet several community members, city council members, and school board members, and It was very small, but it was very intimate, and there was great DJ. And I met this sweet lady who came up and started talking to Robert. And then I went across to get a bite to eat, and I come back and I start talking to her, and she goes, "Baby, I voted for you the first time. I can't wait to vote for you again." And that was a picture I took. She was just the
Yeah,
sweetest. So
that's awesome.
great community, and we had some really good barbecue.
Okay, as we head into the tail end of the episode here, and I want to kind of get us set up to just kind of like touch base with each other. So if we haven't made it explicit already, Angie and I know each other pretty well. I've known her for about 43 years. Going on 44 years. She has known me the exact same amount of time because I am her little brother. I live here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She obviously lives in Collin County, but I spent a good part of my childhood growing up in Collin County, there in McKinney, just outside of district. So kind of just want to use this point in the conversation for us to touch base. Like, you've got your life in Texas, I've got mine in Oklahoma. And yet we have this campaign work that kind of intertwines us a little bit, and we don't get a lot of time to talk to each other like siblings. We're talking to each other like colleagues or coworkers, and I don't. That's been a weird dynamic for me, taking some getting used to. I don't always love it. I kind of just want to call and complain to you about my day. I don't want to so much like review, something that we're working on. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of just wanted to touch base with you. So anyway, I have something that we could talk about in this section, and that's the message that I sent to you that we got on Instagram over the
Ugh.
weekend. I almost started crying myself just reading it. So why don't you tell the listeners what we got over the weekend?
So we got a instant message or a direct message through Instagram from I'm assuming it's a lady.
Yes,
That
yeah. So her and her
Okay.
daughter.
It was a very sweet, heartfelt note, made me cry about an interaction that we had and just how important it was to that family that they got to meet and talk to somebody who's trying to be their representative in government. So just so sweet. The little girl said that she was happy to talk to the president lady. I'm not announcing my candidacy for
For
presidency just
president.
yet.
It was really moving. I know I sent that to you and wanted to get your response to it. Something that just really stood out about the note is that kind person had mentioned that they had lived there for a while in that neighborhood, and you were the first candidate to ever knock on their door. And it's not the first cycle. It's not like they moved in there last fall, and this is the first election cycle going through. So she has not been talked to by previous candidates, certainly not by the incumbent of your district and any others. That stood out to me, which I think probably speaks to a broader issue of American politics in general, particularly like how sleepy and presumptuous politics can be in North Texas. Your response to her was that, you're showing up now and you're going to continue showing up even after you win the race. Like, why has that been so important to this campaign for you? What does that yield for you?
It just it's just my motivation. We talk about a lot in education is, what is your why? What is your why? My why is that I want people to know that when I try to be a representative, that I really and truly want to be what that role entails. I want to know my community. I want to be a part of my community. I want to have these conversations with my community to make sure that they know that I'm there thinking about them and working for them the whole time that I'm in office. That is the role. I take it seriously. Um, and it's not easy when you have close to 200,000 people in your district. It's not easy to make those connections with everyone. But I just keep my head down and keep having those conversations. And hopefully, you just hope it's making a difference. And every once in a while, you get a message like that makes people are hearing you. People see you. They get that you're out there doing it.
What I've been sharing with people in my social group is that you and I have talked about this also. This is thankless work, but that's the purpose. It's supposed to be thankless. That's the point of service, is that you're not doing it for the pat on the back. You're not doing it for the recognition. You're doing it because it's what needs to be done. But we have feelings. We get tired, especially when there's a lot of
Yeah.
effort put forth. Like, you're out there how many block walks are you doing a week right now? Like during the summer?
3, 4.
Yeah, that's wild. Like, there are candidates who have done 3 or 4 since they filed to run. That's wild that you're doing that per week. The effort, it gets tiring. It's exhausting. And especially when you get a lot of doors slammed in your face or a lot of unanswered doors, when you actually catch one. And then it's more than just yeah, thanks for your time, but actual like a memorable moment insofar that they reach back out to you. Man, I know I wasn't even the one doing it. I just fielded the message for you. I don't want to speak for you, but I believe that's why you're doing this, is for those moment of connections so people can feel like they are being represented, not by someone who is never visible in the community, but by somebody who goes out of their way to be in the community.
Yeah, and I think that it's honestly why politics gets such a bad name is that there are some politicians out there that are in it for the connections in the political realm, and that's not why I'm in it. I'm in it to have conversations like that with the community. That's why I'm in it. I don't really care about those people that are at the top just to stuff money in your pockets to be in your ear and make you do things that they want you to do. I'm there to do things to make sure that I am taking care of public education, make sure that I'm making it easier for the working class to live.
Well, I think that is a good place to wrap it up. Ange, thanks for your time this week. This is
Yep.
our inaugural podcast, and we're first feeling it out. We'll see how it lands going forward. So if anybody's catching this clip, please know that we are new to this and we are trying our best, but we wanted to make sure we started this so we could reach as many people in Collin County and in HD 89 that we can, because you've got somebody out there who's fighting for you. We'll go ahead and wrap this up and we will talk later.
Sounds good. Thanks so much. See you
All right,
later,
talk
dude.
to you later. Bye.
Bye.